Imagine waking up tomorrow, grabbing your phone, and finding out your newest intern has completely reorganized your global supply chain
Right.
and rebalanced a massive chunk of your company's investment portfolio and pushed an entirely new, fully functional software product live to your customers.
Just a totally normal Tuesday, right?
Yeah, exactly. And they did all of this, without asking for approval
Right.
before you even had your first cup of coffee.
Oh, and this intern isn't human.
Yeah, that's the reality we're looking at now.
Welcome to the deep dive. We are taking a massive stack of your sources today, anchored by the June 15th, 2026 edition of the Your Weekly AI Pulse Report.
It's a heavy one this week.
It really is. Our mission today is to unpack a pretty jarring paradigm shift. AI has officially stopped just answering questions or drafting polite emails for you.
Right, the polite chatbot era is kind of over.
Yeah, it is rapidly becoming an active, independent economic participant, capable of creating value, managing physical resources, and making high-stakes decisions on its own. And we are looking at 15 major industry developments from this report. It spans everything from staggering financial milestones and autonomous trading systems to the actual geopolitical battle for sovereign AI.
It's a lot of ground to cover.
It is. But what's fascinating here is that when you map these 15 seemingly disparate stories onto a timeline, a massive transition becomes really visible.
Yeah.
We're seeing a hard pivot from AI as a capability, a neat trick your software can do to AI as fundamental infrastructure and economics. We are entering an era where intelligence itself is a strategic, traded asset.
Operating completely autonomously.
Exactly.
Well, let's jump straight into the most, visceral evidence of this new role. AI's ability to independently participate in financial systems.
Yeah, this is huge.
The Pulse report highlights the launch of a framework called Coinbase for agents. Now, at first glance, giving an algorithm a budget, well, it doesn't sound entirely new, right? Wall Street has used algorithmic trading for decades.
Right, for executing trades at lightning speed.
Yeah, exactly.
But the distinction here is in the agency. Algorithmic trading is entirely rule-based. If a stock hits this exact price, execute this exact trade.
Humans still define the exact parameters.
Precisely. Coinbase for agents represents a shift from the information layer into the economic layer. These AI agents are actually provisioned with their own cryptographic wallets.
Wow.
So you give them a broad objective maximize yield on this stablecoin reserve with a low-risk profile.
And then it just goes.
It just goes. The agent autonomously evaluates decentralized finance protocols, monitors market liquidity, devises its own strategy, and then here's the kicker. It signs the transaction with its own private key and pays the network fees.
It paid its own fees. That is wild.
Yeah, it requires zero human implementation.
It's literally an autonomous financial network where the AI is an economic actor.
Yeah.
And this capability to independently execute complex workflows is bleeding directly into software creation, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Look at the metrics coming out of Lovable. Our sources say they just hit $500 million in annual recurring revenue.
Which is a massive milestone.
It is. But the number that really matters is their output. They are generating 1 million new software projects a week.
1 million a week. To understand how a single platform handles that kind of velocity, you have to look at the mechanism, which is intent-based natural language.
Right.
In the past, software development meant translating human needs into highly specific syntax that a machine could compile. Now, a user simply states their intent.
Like just telling it what you want.
Yeah, exactly. You just say, build a two-sided marketplace for vintage watches with user authentication and a payment gateway.
And it does it.
The AI doesn't just auto-complete code anymore. It provisions the cloud databases, structures the back-end logic, integrates the APIs, and deploys the product.
It literally bridges the gap between having an idea and shipping a product in, seconds?
Pretty much.
And the sources show OpenAI's new Codex tools and GitHub Copilot are driving this exact same wedge into traditional workflows.
Yeah, they really are.
Codex is expanding way beyond just software engineering into general white-collar knowledge work, drafting legal documentation, coordinating project management, synthesizing research.
It's moving into the office.
Yeah. And GitHub Copilot has evolved too. It's no longer just a passive chatbot sitting in your code editor waiting for you to get stuck. It has become a persistent, proactive software agent.
Right, because it monitors the entire context of a project across thousands of files simultaneously.
Thousands of files at once.
Yeah. So if a developer changes a variable in the backend database, the Copilot agent proactively flags that this will break a user interface element on the front end,
Wow.
and it immediately submits a patch to fix it before the human even realizes they made an error.
Which perfectly sets up the recent Gemini CLI update we read about. For those listening who might not spend their days in developer tools, a CLI, a command line interface, is essentially the text-based control room of a computer.
Right, the raw terminal.
Exactly. And Google's update shows these development environments turning into multi-agent operating systems.
Yeah.
You have different AI agents specializing in different tasks.
Like one testing security, one optimizing database queries.
Yes. And they are actually communicating with each other, passing metadata back and forth to solve complex problems as a team.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because when you look at the autonomous trading, the million apps a week, and these proactive multi-agent systems, it completely redefines human labor.
How so?
Well, traditional software development was like handcrafting furniture. You had an artisan carving every leg of the chair line by line.
Right.
These new AI platforms are the automated industrial factory.
Okay, but if AI is doing the building and the coding and the trading, I mean, if it's running the factory, what new skills do human professionals actually need to manage these AI-native production workflows? Aren't we just training our replacements?
It demands a total shift in professional value, moving from implementation to orchestration.
Orchestration.
Right. If you are the artisan focused only on carving the chair leg, yes, your skill is being commoditized. But if you shift your mindset to being the system supervisor, your value skyrockets.
Ah, I see.
Professionals must now act as orchestrators, managing teams of persistent agents. Your job is defining the overarching architecture, ensuring that security protocols are tight, setting the strategic outcomes, and, correcting the agents when they drift. You are the factory floor manager now.
That transition from building models to building systems around them, that's a massive theme in our sources. The era of competing solely on who has the biggest AI model with the most parameters is, well, it's ending.
Yeah, the focus is now entirely on system competition. The open source community just proved this definitively.
Boy, the Harness One agent.
Exactly. This new open source search agent called Harness One recently outperformed a massive frontier model, GPT 5.4, specifically on search recall.
And for context for you listening, search recall is the system's ability to find every single relevant piece of information in a massive data set without missing anything. It's like finding every needle in the haystack.
Right, and GPT 5.4 has vastly more raw compute power and parameters, which is essentially brute force memory.
Yeah.
But Harness One won because it utilized superior retrieval and orchestration architecture. Think of it like a brilliant scholar with a messy office versus an average librarian with a perfectly indexed filing system.
The librarian finds the document faster every time.
Every single time. Building better knowledge architectures around a smaller model creates way more business value than just throwing billions of dollars at a larger model.
And this shift towards system integration explains exactly what Apple did at WWDC 2026.
It really does.
They didn't introduce a new standalone chatbot app for intelligence. They embedded AI directly into the OS layer across their entire ecosystem.
Because they recognize that distribution and native system integration are the real battlegrounds.
Right. If the intelligence is invisible, if it's routing your emails and sorting your notifications at the system level, users don't have to change their behavior or learn a new interface.
They are turning intelligence into a basic utility, kind of like electricity. But to run a global cognitive grid of this magnitude, the underlying physical infrastructure has to scale exponentially.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Our sources note that SpaceX is pursuing a share sale that values the company at $750 billion.
A staggering number.
I am struggling to connect the dots here, though. When we talk about AI, we're talking about multi-agent operating systems, digital wallets, software factories. Why is a rocket company emerging as the ultimate AI winner?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the software is entirely constrained by physics.
Physics.
Yes. Autonomous agents are utterly useless without the physical networks required to power and scale them. We are in the middle of an AI infrastructure supercycle. Every single time an agent autonomously trades crypto or compiles an application, it burns compute and massive amounts of energy. Furthermore, these decentralized multi-agent systems need low-latency data transmission and global connectivity to function as a cohesive network.
And that's where SpaceX comes in.
Exactly. SpaceX, through its Starlink satellite constellation, is building the literal physical nervous system that allows global, uninterrupted AI connectivity to exist regardless of terrestrial borders.
So if a company wants to build a resilient economic system around their AI assets, they can't just buy a software license anymore. They have to think about their supply chain for energy, compute, and connectivity.
They absolutely do. And this bridge into the physical world extends straight onto the factory floor, too.
Oh, right, the Thicker race.
Yeah, the Baker just raised $85 million for general-purpose factory robots. Historically, manufacturing robots were brittle. They were programmed to weld a door onto a chassis at a specific angle.
And if the chassis was an inch off?
The robot destroyed it.
Right. But Thicker is injecting foundation model adaptability into these physical machines.
Yeah.
Because these robots use the same kind of underlying AI models that understand language and imagery. They actually understand their physical environment.
It's amazing.
If a part is dropped, they perceive it, learn from it, and adapt their grip dynamically. It is adaptive autonomy bringing the flexibility of software into heavy manufacturing.
And while AI is extending its reach out into physical infrastructure, it's also being deployed defensively to protect our own mental infrastructure.
Yes. We have a source here detailing Equal AI's $30 million raise to build what they call tension infrastructure.
Which is desperately needed.
So needed, because if millions of software apps are being generated a week and millions of agents are executing trades and sending communications, humans are just going to drown in the noise.
It's cognitive overload.
Right. So Equal AI is essentially fighting fire with fire.
Mm-hmm.
They're using AI to act as an active filtering layer, screening incoming calls, summarizing inbound data, and deciding what actually warrants human attention.
It is a critical defense mechanism against information overload. But this brings us to a massive friction point.
The trust gap.
Exactly. If we are handing over the keys to our investment portfolios, our software repositories, our factory robotics, and our incoming communications to autonomous systems, we are exposed to catastrophic vulnerabilities.
What happens when they mess up? Our stack of sources highlights a major incident where KPMG had to withdraw an entire, highly publicized report on AI usage because the data inside it was just riddled with hallucinations.
The AI completely fabricated the statistics.
Yeah.
When a Tier 1 consulting firm inadvertently publishes fabricated information generated by an AI, it proves that raw intelligence is worse than useless without reliability.
It destroys brand equity instantly.
Instantly. And hallucinations are accidental. The Pulse report also details a major lawsuit launched by Google regarding the industrialization of AI-powered cybercrime.
Right, malicious actors aren't just hacking passwords anymore. They're using multi-agent systems to scale fraud, deepfake deception, and targeted social engineering at speeds human security teams just cannot physically match.
Because the problem with an autonomous agent operating at millisecond speed is that a single confident lie or malicious action scales infinitely before a human even realizes something is wrong.
Yeah, which is exactly why Amazon's CEO reportedly raised serious internal concerns about the safety and output of Anthropic's models ahead of anticipated government scrutiny.
AI governance is no longer a philosophical debate happening in academic research labs. It is a harsh regulatory reality and a massive pillar of enterprise risk management.
A confident lie from an AI is infinitely more dangerous than an error message. But practically speaking, how do enterprise leaders actually implement robust trust and governance frameworks when the technology is moving a million miles an hour? I mean, you can't have a human review every millisecond decision.
This raises an important question about the architecture of trust. Historically, internal human oversight relied on managers' spot-checking work. As you said, that doesn't scale to agents.
Right.
Trust and governance must now be programmatic. You have to build digital identity verification directly into the system. Before an agent can interact with your database or execute a trade, it needs cryptographic proof of identity.
So a server can instantly verify, like, yes, this is our authorized inventory management agent pinging me, not a rogue bot from a cybercrime ring.
Precisely. You implement continuous auditability layers. Every action an agent takes must be logged with source attribution and a confidence score.
Okay.
And if the confidence score drops below 99%, the policy dictates that the agent must halt and escalate to a human orchestrator. The enterprises that solve this trust gap, creating secure, verifiable agent networks, they will capture far more market share than those just deploying the smartest, fastest models without guardrails.
Because if you can't explicitly trust the AI running the automated factory, you just have to pull the plug on the whole operation. And that desperate need for trusted, verifiable infrastructure scales directly onto the global stage. Nations are watching this economic transformation and realizing they cannot rely entirely on foreign tech giants for the foundational infrastructure of their economies.
No, the geopolitics of sovereign AI ecosystems are reshaping the global market entirely.
Now, I want to note for you listening that we are looking at these geopolitical developments strictly as factual market dynamics impacting supply chains, based entirely on our sources. We aren't taking political sides here.
Right, it's just about the resource allocation.
Exactly. But the financial moves are undeniable. Mistral, based in France, is reportedly seeking a €3 billion fundraise at a massive €20 billion valuation.
Huge numbers.
Europe is pushing aggressively to build a globally competitive, sovereign AI champion to ensure they have regional vendor diversification.
Well, they are building a cognitive grid. I mean, you wouldn't let a competing nation control your electrical grid or your water supply, so why would you let them control the cognitive infrastructure that runs your financial systems and software factories?
You wouldn't. And we are seeing the fallout of this global race in real time. Anthropic recently had to restrict access to some of its frontier models in India due to complex regional compliance issues.
Which sparked a massive debate about accessibility.
Oh, totally. If local developer ecosystems and enterprise innovators in a major economy cannot access top-tier AI tools, it creates an immediate drag on their workforce development and national competitiveness.
It completely restricts their ability to build those economic agent networks. And on the flip side of that coin, you have Meta reportedly unwinding a massive $2 billion investment deal with Manus.
Right.
This decision was driven heavily by cross-border regulatory pressure and scrutiny from Beijing regarding data sovereignty and technology transfer.
This sounds exactly like countries fighting over oil reserves or semiconductor supply chains. Intelligence really is the new oil.
It is the new oil, but functioning as a cognitive grid. Sovereign AI ecosystems dictate resource accessibility. If your entire company runs on a centralized, US-based API and a new cross-border data regulation is passed,
your business could be turned off overnight.
Exactly. For founders and early-stage startups listening, the strategic playbook has fundamentally changed. You must design multi-vendor strategies from day one.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right. By leveraging regional sovereign infrastructure and integrating robust open-source models like Harness One alongside frontier models, startups maintain the strategic flexibility to scale competitively regardless of shifting geopolitical borders.
Okay, we have covered an immense amount of ground today. We've gone from AI holding crypto wallets and building software factories to requiring satellite infrastructure, strict cryptographic governance, and sparking international geopolitical standoffs.
It's a whole new world.
It really is. So what does this all mean for you? How do you actually use this information tomorrow?
Well, if we synthesize everything in this report, it provides a very clear step-by-step roadmap for organizations adopting these new economic AI systems. The transition happens in 4 distinct stages.
Okay, let's hear them.
Step 1 is to operationalize. Stop treating AI as a chatbot that answers questions. Begin implementing agents directly into your workflows as executors that can actually take action.
Step 2 is to scale. You have to build the resilient economic systems to support them.
Yes. Secure the physical and digital infrastructure. Evaluate your compute needs, your data connectivity, and ensure you have vendor diversification so you aren't beholden to a single provider.
Right.
Step 3 is to govern. Before you let these systems run at full speed, establish strict ethical frameworks and programmatic trust. Build in that continuous auditability and cryptographic identity verification we discussed.
Because an ungoverned agent operating at scale is an existential business risk.
Exactly. And finally, step 4 is to integrate. Take a page from Apple's playbook. Embed the AI completely into your core business operations so it becomes an invisible, native part of how your company creates value rather than a separate tool your employees have to log into.
Operationalize, scale, govern, and integrate.
That's the playbook.
It's a phenomenal blueprint for navigating this shift. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the dawn of AI as an active economic participant.
Always a pleasure.
But before we sign off, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over on your own. Think back to that intern we talked about at the very beginning of the show.
The busy one.
The very busy one. The one who can now independently execute financial trades, write proprietary code, and rent digital infrastructure. If AI systems are now acting as autonomous economic participants, generating their own revenue, interacting with users and managing their own resources, at what point will our legal systems be forced to recognize digital agent networks as independent corporate entities, complete with their own legal rights and liabilities?
Now that is a deep dive for another day.
Until next time.